Hello friends, Uncle Marv here with the last episode of the IT Business Podcast here at ASCII Edge. It's not the last one ever. Don't get all excited, folks. But we're finishing off the day here, day 2 of the ASCII Cup in Philadelphia. And this happened to work out just fine. And for the first time, I'm going to have somebody from Microsoft join me here. But this person has been around the ASCII program for a long time. I'm talking about Jason Jones, Director within the Microsoft Global Partner Solutions. Jason, welcome to the show.
Man, I'm excited that we finally pulled this off after the, I call it the ASCII Concert Tour 2025.
Yeah.
So it's pretty great.
Well, it's funny. I mean, we've passed each other and waved at each other, but actually getting you in the seat here was something a little different. So thanks for doing this.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So let's first tell people a little bit about the Microsoft ASCII relationship, because I think a lot of MSPs are kind of like, yeah, Microsoft really doesn't care about us small folks and stuff, but yet here you are.
Yeah. So I think there's a couple things. One, the way it started was I've known about ASCII for 20 years, right? My role necessarily didn't always interact with it. I frankly cold called them. I'm an old school seller. I cold call ASCII. I said, I'm Jason Jones from Microsoft. I'm a real person, right? I know about your organization. I've known about it forever. I know our great distributor partners are involved. Tell me about it, right? And all of a sudden, as I got to meet with the leadership and better understand, right, there's clearly a fit for not just Microsoft, but companies of all size, all IT vendors to be engaged, right? The one great thing that I love about ASCII, right, is that community element, right? A lot of places they'll gather partners together, but the partners don't share their best practices. It's a very sort of closed off community. Here, MSPs are sharing what's working for them, what's not. And so we really felt at Microsoft, right, this was a great opportunity to, let's just say, jump in with both feet. We don't necessarily know what we were getting into, but the ASCII group and the ASCII community has frankly welcomed us with open arms. Doesn't mean that every conversation is beautiful and wonderful, but at the end of the day, it's been a learning experience, I think, for both sides. And, we hopefully look forward to continuing this.
Right. Now, you obviously, after that cold call, you're here now, and you actually did a lot. You did, what was it, was it a 3-hour workshop on day 1?
Yeah, actually, thank goodness it's not 3. It's, we do ASCII was nice enough to give us a 90-minute workshop.
90 minutes.
Right?
Okay.
90 minutes. But, we make a lot of stuff, so it's tough to cram as much as you can into 90 minutes. They are also gracious enough to put me on a panel with some of the other key vendors, that are here that I've actually learned a lot from those other vendors. And then I do, we have on day 2, right, sort of the standard rah-rah, right, Microsoft keynote that I do. So I'm on stage quite a bit here at all the ASCII events.
Right. So how often are you getting stopped by ASCII members? And, we talked briefly before going on air here about the Microsoft program changes. Sure. And, Microsoft's focus on, MSPs in particular. And we mentioned the fact that, we see the world from our bubble, sure, but not from the, Microsoft world view of stuff. So how often are you getting stopped and asked questions, and how are you responding?
It's probably the reason I haven't been on before is that's how much I get stopped, right? Now, some of them, let's be really honest, some of them are very much like, I had one partner one time come up to me and show their phone. It had like an error code. Why is this happening? I'm like, I don't know. What am I looking at here? Right. But believe it or not, I get stopped a lot by partners. And the first thing they say is, I wasn't aware that Microsoft did that. Right. I wasn't aware of Microsoft's level of investment in SMB. I wasn't aware of how Microsoft and our distribution channel work together. Right. And so there's a lot of, I guess, one of the reasons we're here, I call them aha moments. Mm-hmm. Every MSP is bombarded by every vendor with every new widget that's out there, us included. Right. And sometimes coming to an event like this, I call it seeing a human face to face, the message cuts through all the clutter, right? Because look, I know I get hundreds of emails from different technology companies. Do I read them all? No. Is there some that I should read that probably miss some information? Yes. But when I'm able to get on stage and say, hey, like, cut through all the junk. These are the 2 things that you need to remember as an MSP. That resonates. And actually the MSPs were pretty grateful for it.
Nice. I know, we talked about the change in the programs, and I've been a Microsoft partner. I don't remember how long. It's probably 2000, maybe before. And I've always, been a partner. And of course, for people that could not do the competencies back in the day, I was like, listen, you at least got to do the action pack.
Yes.
And the action pack would give a lot of benefits alone. And even with the programs now, what is it? The partner launch and partner success core. Mm-hmm. There's still a ton of stuff in those programs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's two ways to look at any vendor's partner programs, but in particularly Microsoft, right? There's what do I get out of it that I want to use? But the second part is, what has Microsoft created that will help me sell? Right. And so since you've been in it since 2000, I've been in it since 2001. I remember when it was just all about NFRs. I don't care what I need to do. I just want my copy of Office XP, right?
Yeah.
I want to save the $200 or whatever it is, right? That's changed, right? To me, as any business owner, that's a little bit short-sighted, right? It should be, why am I not leveraging the Copilot immersion briefing? Why am I not leveraging the Copilot? I'm just throwing out buzz terms, right? Campaign in a box. These are things that we make available to partners, right? And not necessarily all partners. You have to do some due diligence, like you said, right? But to go in and say, wow, here's an assessment. Here's a PowerPoint deck. Here's a pitch deck. Here's a customer email template. All those things we've created that, frankly, as I like to say to partners, hey, take a look at it, learn it, slap your logo on it, and all of a sudden it's yours, right? So I think, we've changed and evolved the partner program. All partners do that. But I think it's critical, and I meet with all levels of MSPs. The top MSPs that we see are investing dedicated time every month, I would say, exploring what is in the Microsoft Partner Program, the MAI CPP, right, to use the buzzword, right? And they're finding lots of nuggets of, let's call it gold and some really cool things that they can take advantage of. I don't want you to take advantage of everything. Well, too much.
I don't think a lot of us can. I'll be honest. I've been in my partner portal more in the last 3 months than probably the last 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And that's just me being lazy, to be honest with you. And I'll be honest, it's a lot.
It's overwhelming.
It is a lot. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just going down my benefits, but I'm also the reason I'm in there is because I'm, connecting my customer tenants to a lot of my stack items so that we can get visibility there. We can do some, monitoring of the 365, the cloud products and stuff. And you're right. As I dig in there a little more each day, it's like, oh crap, I could have been doing this.
Well, it's funny because we were joking beforehand, right? A lot of us have consumer accounts on online shopping sites, stuff like that, right? And you're like, oh, I didn't know that it offered free cloud storage or free TV or all these different things, right? And you're like, yeah, right. The benefits are sometimes just too much.
Right.
And so this is where when I talk to MSPs of all shapes and sizes, I'm always like, what is your superpower? You cannot be all things to all people. No one can, right? What can you hang your hat off, right? And you say, I am the best at X. And maybe that X is Microsoft 365 Business Premium, securing your environment, managing your desktops, all those great things. Great. Then curate your experience in the partner portal to just that. It may be very easy to get distracted on, ooh, I see a shiny thing over here, right? And that's okay to end up going there. But really, I encourage partners to major in the majors when it comes to their partner program. And like you said, and you admitted, right, you hadn't really been in there in the last 3 years. And I do think we've made a lot of changes. So I do think now is a pivotal moment with this digital transformation, AI, this concept of frontier firms, that partners set aside some time. And I'm not just saying this. I was at a partner. I was in charge of we called it the MPN, the gold and silver, right? I was in charge of that. And I had an hour a month that I dedicated time to going in there, to seeing what was going on. And then I had a 30-minute review with my CEO on what I found. We worked it into our rhythm of the business, right? Now, if you're a solo entrepreneur, you're reviewing it with yourself, but taking that discipline, an hour a month, 30 minutes to review it. I think it's great. I think that's really where partners can get a lot of advantages.
Yeah. I can't let a opportunity go without asking you about AI.
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody's talking about it.
I get paid to say AI, like I have to say it 10 times a day, I think, right?
So of course we as MSPs are being told, hey, Copilot is an opportunity. How would you address what is being said in the industry with how we should address it, how we should, learn to use the guardrails and assist our customers and stuff? How are you advising MSPs on that?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that I would take a step back and go, what's the foundational footprint of your customer, right? AI is this wonderful thing. Copilot's amazing, right? But if they're not secure, their data governance is in order. They don't have data loss prevention policies in place, right? Introducing AI can actually cause, a little bit of, I wouldn't say difficulty, but like, hey, well, what's happening? So I think number one, MSPs have to go to every single customer and make sure, so to speak, that their house, I call it their foundation, is in order, right? And once you do that, then I think MSPs really have to sit down with their customer and say, like, what do you think is an acceptable use policy? Because I do think you should have policies, right, around AI. Can everyone use it? Can only the leadership team use it? Can HR use it? Can legal use it? Like, there are aspects, and there's actually partners here that can help you with that. Once you've figured out that, and I think you can do that in fairly short order, then I think you need to do sort of an inventory with that customer and say, hey, like, what AI is in there already that you don't know about? Right. And we use the term, Marv, rogue IT. Well, now it's rogue AI, right? Yeah. Where I think Copilot plays a pivotal role, and I think it's the best solution is, right? It's grounded in your data. Your data is your data. I call it my assistant at work. I joke with some people, I get an assistant for $1 a day, right? That's kind of my little tagline. But it's an easy way to get customers using AI tools in things they already use. People use Outlook, Teams, OneDrive, Excel, Word, PowerPoint. Copilot's in all of those. So it's not this transformational leap of, oh, how do I use this AI tool? It's like, oh, I know how to use Word. Oh, there's Copilot. Copilot can make my experience in Word bigger, better, faster, stronger, right? So it's very low hanging fruit. And then Marv, right, the next evolution, let's be honest, is like, how do I now start making AI agents, bots, agentic AI, right? But again, if we're building the foundation, what's their environment like? Getting Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot in there is like, oh, I've got walls, I've got a roof, I've got windows, I've got carpet, then you start moving into, again, what we call the frontier firm. And, it's that sort of ultimate evolution of AI.
Have you kind of formulated in your mind what could be the biggest opportunity with AI for us in leveraging all of that?
I think one is it will accelerate the services that you provide around data governance and security. Okay. And MSPs are really good at that. Right. MSPs, right. Security is in your DNA. Right. And so for those end customers like, oh, I've got an antivirus, I'm good. Right. Or something like it will accelerate that. You will be able to add value added services to make sure that they are protected both from internal threats and external threats. I think the second piece, which a lot of MSPs may kind of forget, is actually training. Right. So a lot of people's like, hey, I bought this AI thing. Or hey, I bought Microsoft 365 Copilot. I gave it to my employees and I hope they do good. 3 months later, how many people are using it, right? So a good MSP is going to be like, hey, like, do I send you the prompt of the week? Do I do a paid for or a free training for your employees on how do you leverage Copilot? How do you create proposals, right? So there are some training companies out there that are just killing it because people are adopting these tools at such a fast pace and they don't know how to use them. Right. And an MSP is like, hey, I secured you. I got your data governance in place.
What next?
I've sold you Copilot. Now I'm going to train. And oh, by the way, I'm now going to charge for that in my monthly recurring revenue. Right. So there is a ton of opportunity. And I think there's honestly more to come. Okay.
I'm going to go off script here.
Okay, let's go.
And I'm going to assume that you don't have the approval to answer this question. But I'll start it by asking, were you in the presentation earlier today with Corey Clark and SonicWall?
I was in for a piece of it. I've seen it before though. I've seen it before.
Oh, but you hadn't seen this.
No, I hadn't seen this one though.
So right at the very end.
Sure.
Darn.
That's okay.
You would. So I'll set it up for you.
Debrief me.
So one of the, things that happened right at the very end, he had a minute left for questions and a member got up and asked, What do you think that Microsoft could do to help in the fact that 84% of the right word wasn't breaches, but the incidents that were happening were all cloud-based in 365. And so, of course, the member asked, well, what do you think that Microsoft can do to help? So the question that I don't think you're authorized to answer, but I'm going to ask anyway, is he said that he wishes that Microsoft would stop charging so much for basic security.
Basics. Interesting.
He talked about the fact that, yes, you could get premium, but you still need a P1 license to do security add-ons and stuff. But in reality, people should be at a P2.
Right.
And he said, why can't they make it so that for the very basic things, it's down there,
right,
and affordable?
So, I think the term affordable is very subjective, right? The term of like expensive, right? To me, when my daughter spends $10 at Starbucks, I freak out, right? Here's what I would say, right? And this is actually because of our interaction with the ASCII group and with MSPs. We heard MSPs loud and clear that they needed, and let's just not call it baseline security. The security that is inside of Microsoft 365, say business premium, which is what I tell people that's the foundational element. That is robust. That's fantastic security. You can read all the white papers and quote all the studies, Defender for Business, Defender for Office 365 apps, right? That stuff, at a minimum, you need to be doing that, right? And for most companies, that can be really amazing. That's a lot better than what they have now, right? So because the MSPs have said exactly what you said, we just announced, what was it, like 45 days ago, right? We've had 2 new suites. And if you buy them together, it's, $15, right? So for an extra $15 a month, you get all the enterprise. You get all, as you say, the P2s, right? And so if I look at it, don't quote me on pricing here, right? But when all our sort of MSRP slides, right? So business premium in the low 20s, this new bundle 15. Hey, for 37, 38, 39, 40, whatever that range is, right? Licensing costs, right? You can have what I would consider enterprise class security. So we actually presented that to these partners today. And frankly, I would say 98% of them did not know about it.
Of course not. I didn't know about it.
Right. Exactly. Right. And so that goes back to the information, right? Yeah. Every day we're making announcements. And that's why that's a huge reason. Thank you for calling out that Microsoft is here, because again, you may not read the email. I have had more partners come up to me at this ASCII event going, I want more information on these new, we call it the Defender Suite for Business Premium, the Purview Suite for Business Premium, than I have had, and even for Copilot, right? Because it's what they've been asking for. And when I say I'm dead serious, right? A year ago, when we heard that feedback from MSPs of we need that extra oomph, right? I took that back. My team took that back. It took us a year, right? But hey, we're a big company, right? And here we are. All of our distributors have them in the marketplace. Your partners, the MSPs here today, can start ordering these bundles at, let me be honest, right? $10, $15 a month. That's a pretty good price point, right? The other option is what a lot of these partners do when I get that feedback is, well, I use, and then they name 7 other security vendors. Right. And I add up the cost. It's a lot more than $15, and none of them work together per se, right? And so I think that's a little bit of our competitive advantage, is that like from soup to nuts, from the edge to the cloud, all of our stuff is designed to work together. Not saying that the other vendors aren't great. There's amazing security vendors here, but hot off the press for you, right? The Defender Suite and the Purview Suite is directly because of the feedback from MSP.
Well, nice. And I will say that, yeah, I've actually, part of that 3 months that I've been in the portal is because of upgrading several clients, to the premium level. That's to start. Yeah. And looking at the Defender and the fact that, it's there, but you still got to go in and do some stuff. I mean, it's not like it's just on by default and works. You got to go in and tweak it. And, I've looked at the Purview, but I haven't engaged that.
Yeah. I mean, again, right. There's a lot. I admire MSPs because, all the vectors that you have to navigate, right? And I'll say this, right? It's important that, and every MSP here has talked about that, having those business reviews with your end customers. What do they want? What do they need, right? SMBs a lot of times are like, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm a 50-person engineering firm. Nobody cares about me. The stats show the exact opposite, right? And so, from our perspective, I would highly encourage partners, whenever you are buying a suite, in your case, you mentioned Microsoft 365 Business Premium, figure out all the components. Am I leveraging Intune? Am I leveraging Defender? Am I leveraging Defender for Office 365 apps? Am I leveraging Entrepreneur? Like, are you taking advantage of all the stuff? Or are you frankly buying it for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Exchange, and SharePoint, and a few other things, right? Because then you're essentially leaving like value on the table. And for an MSP, you can charge for all that stuff that you manage and turn on, right?
So here's the thing. I mean, we have been told Business Premium is the place to start.
Sure.
However, nobody, and I'll qualify it, I may not have seen or heard, but I talk to a lot of MSP partners. I talk to a lot of vendors. I have not seen a place where we could go to actually learn the basics of each of those components.
Yeah.
It's almost like, just install Premium. Okay, well, it's not just that. And I was the one that said, okay, I've got to go in and look at this Defender for 365, started rolling that out. And, Purview, there's actually some other stuff in there as well, and of course we've got to, basically what we've been told for the last year or so, Business Premium, conditional access, MFA.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's not it.
Yeah, there's way more to it, right? So there's a couple things, right? A lot of people ask me, well, Jason, how do you get trained on Microsoft? I literally get trained at the same place partners get trained. It's called MS Learn. Okay. We don't hide anything from anyone.
So that is the place.
That is the place. Okay. If you want to get certified, I use example, right? I was talking to a partner and they want to build their Azure practice. And they were like, I was like, you need to get your AZ 900 and they get your AZ 104. And they're like, well, how do I do that? I'm like, it's right there. Like, and we showed them and they were like, oh my goodness. Like, it literally is the course. Like, step one, follow the bouncing ball, right? And so MS Learn, and now with AI, right? You can put together and say like, hey, go to MS Learn. Say, look up Defender for Business, right? You can look that up. Heck, you can use Copilot chat. And my prompt would be, I'm looking to add Defender for Business as a cloud practice, period. Create for me a 30, 60, 90-day plan, sales, marketing, technical, include appropriate MS Learn links and other Microsoft partner documentation. It'll do it.
All right. There's a prompt, folks.
Yeah, there it is. There it is, right? I'm not a prompt master, but I've figured out the importance of prompts. But to your point, I want to be real sensitive here. There's a lot of stuff that's out there. And so I do think creating learning plans in MS Learn, but also leveraging Copilot chat to create your own learning plans, right? But at the end of the day, right, you, the partner, have to find those limited hours in the day to say, okay, how much time am I going to study Intune? Right? It is, right? How much time am I going to play around with it? And I think that leads to my other theme today was customer zero, right? In this world of AI and digital transformation, partners have to be customer zero. You have to be using Intune. You have to be using Defender. You have to be using all of those things internally because then you can speak to it authentically. Otherwise, right? I mean, I can tell somebody that Epson printer was good, but since I don't use one,
well, and
have that firsthand experience.
That's what I've been doing the last 3 months. I've turned it on for us and I'm like, oh, well, let me block myself and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, then you don't get, maybe we should block each other on Fridays so we get 3-day weekends. Yeah. But, you're right. You're absolutely right on that.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going through that process and doing it in-house first and then rolling it out, is key. But I'll be honest, I've known about MS Learn, but I've ignored it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of us have.
Yeah.
Just to be fair. But if you're saying that's the place, then I mean, there's to revisit.
Again, there's a million different places. I think the other one, don't quote me on this. I think it's transform.microsoft.com where a lot of our other content is. But when it really comes to like, let's just say training, like I want to learn how to use Intune, right? As an example, I want to get certified potentially on some of the aspects of managing that. That's all located in, within MS Learn. Again, there's not a super secret employee training site that I go to. I could show you, I could log into MS Learn right now and show you, hey, Jason took his AZ 900 and passed. And how did I do that? I did it exactly the way every single partner or student, right? So it's available for students and even end users.
Right.
So it's a free-for-all, which is great. We don't hide any of that content.
Nice. All right. Well, we dug into the weeds there a little bit. Thank you very much for that. What's next for you after ASCII?
I've got a full team of people. I will not be going because I've been on the road for probably as many weeks as you have in a row. We've got a full team of Microsoft folks along with our distribution partners that'll be at IT Nation next week. Oh, you'll be there? Yeah. Right. I won't, but I'll try to get maybe some of my folks to swing by. And then certainly we work a lot naturally with our distribution partners. So we have D&H here, PAX 8, TD Synnex is here. So I think I've got events with a couple of those that are happening. And those are lots I was at D&H Thread last week up in Hershey. Yeah. So there was 400 people and lots of chocolate, right? So it was a great time. And I can't thank the distribution partners enough because they really are investing a ridiculous amount of money and time and effort to help the MSPs as well.
Well, I will say this. So I have been getting some of my Microsoft products through another CSP.
Sure.
And I've been getting some of them through TD Synnex.
Great.
And I will tell you this, the process at TD Synnex is way better now than it was years ago. So I don't know if that's a TD Synnex thing or a Microsoft thing, but you guys have finally made it easy to get the products through the distributors. And that has actually made things a lot nicer.
Well, I'll pass that on. I know some of the former executives at Legacy Synnex, and certainly my colleague that handles TD Synnex directly. And yeah, I mean, let's face it, right? It's a complex world. All of our distributors, again, right? They're having to stay ahead of the curve. TD Synnex is a prime example. As again, I called out, I think OpenText has been a sponsor here. I've seen SureWeb they'll be at IT Nation. We've got about, 6 or 7. I can name them all. Arrow, Ingram that have, they're all doing the best, right? That they can. It's important for MSPs to find the partner they like, the distributor, embrace the platform and the ecosystem, but then reach beyond that. All of those distributors have dedicated Microsoft teams. This is another Jason tip, right? So if you get stuck and you're like, Defender, the person you're talking to, that distributor, may be an inside sales rep, field rep. They may be great, but you're like, the key thing is like, can I speak to a member of the dedicated Microsoft team about this issue? And it should be hold, please, transfer, or this is that person's name, right? So, tips and tricks, right? Those people are out there. They're waiting for your phone call.
All right. There you have it, folks. A way to get some easy access when you need it. Jason, thank you for actually stopping by. Like I said, you were about ready to walk by again, weren't you?
No, I just got dragged by. I started talking SEC football since my daughter goes to UGA and somebody knew that I was from Georgia. So anytime football is brought up, I've got to stop and take a chat.
All right. SEC. I hate you. No, ACC.
Oh, so I went to Chapel Hill.
Really?
So I am in the middle of the Belichick era. So
that's gotta be fun.
Yeah. I'd rather talk about licensing rather than the Belichick
era. Fun
era.
is not the right word. Well, here's the only question I'll ask about.
Okay, let's go.
Should he have gone for 2 in the last game?
At this point, where you are, why not?
Okay. I would have gone for 2.
Totally.
Even if I wasn't in the situation he was in, that type of game, you go for 2. You go for the win.
Yeah, I mean, if we do go to a bowl, it'll probably be, the Lay's Potato Chip Bowl or the Belk Bowl or one of those.
Bowl, just like my Florida State Seminoles aren't going to a bowl.
I can dream, Marv. I can dream. I'm actually going just football. I'm so excited. I'm going to Notre Dame this weekend. I grew up a Navy fan. I grew up on the Naval Academy, and Navy, just a shout out, is 7-0. If they win this week, they're 8-0 going to Notre Dame with, believe it or not, early ESPN college football playoff predictions have Navy in the college football playoff.
Okay. You guys were 8-0 just a few years ago, and what happened? Or I shouldn't say you, Navy.
I think we ended up 10 last year. I think Navy was 10-2, beat Oklahoma in the bowl game. But again, right, you place teams like Temple and North Texas. I know we're off now. I'm on my fun topic, right? However, I'll tell you, right, we get past Notre Dame, the slimmest of chances, but you go into Notre Dame at 8-0 and you somehow pull off the upset. I was at the last time they upset them. Just say Navy football could could be in that final. What is it? 12 teams?
12 teams.
And the prediction says they're playing at Georgia, and I already have my hotel in Athens. So
nice. Interesting. All right. I'm going to make a note here somewhere that,
the prediction.
if that happens, I'm going to reach out to you and we'll just have a sports conversation.
Dude, I love it. Trust me. I love sports. I love football. I love the pageantry, the drama. All my kids played sports. I've attempted to play sports. So yeah, it's a more fun topic sometimes than the other things.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Jason, thank you very much again for stopping by. Ladies and gentlemen, again, Jason Jones, director with Microsoft Global Partner Solutions. He's accessible here at the ASCII events, and look forward to chatting with you in the future.
Let's go.
All right. That's going to do it here from ASCII Edge. And the next time you hear from me, it'll be from IT Nation in Orlando, Florida, back home where it's warm. So we'll see you guys soon. And until then, holla.